guys, in this video of the TypeScript series, we are going to learn about the optional chaining operator. So let's get started.
The optional chaining operator in JavaScript as well as in TypeScript helps us to safely access properties or call methods on objects even if some of the properties are null or undefined. It basically helps prevent errors and makes our code more concise and readable. Now let's understand it better with an example. Say I'm developing a website for a food chain wherein I have been given a task to handle the order of pizzas. So I have created this interface called as pizza, which has all of these properties like size, toppings, add-on. So these toppings and add-ons are optional properties that I have. So a user might choose some toppings or not. Similarly, they might also choose some add-on or decide not to choose any. Now let's say I have got an order. So I will call it, say, my pizza, and it has a type of this pizza. Now inside it I have to define a few properties. Those are mandatory, so this would be selected by the user himself since we don't have an UI over here, so we are just writing it on our own. Say the size that is defined is large, and we also have some toppings, so we only have the toppings of veggies at this point in time, so we write it as veggie. And also here, since veggie is a string, we have got the veggies as mushroom and onion. Rest of the things the user has left empty. They do not want any add-on as well. Now let's say your website also want to see whenever you are placing an order, you want to show it to your baker that whether there are any add-ons or not. So you have created a variable called as cheese add-on to see whether the user has added any cheese as an add-on or not. So the safe way to access this particular property is, first you are going to see whether there are any add-ons or not, and this we need to check because it's an optional property. So what you are going to write is first mypizza.addon, and if it exists, so you are using an AND operator over here, and if it exists, then only you want to access the cheese property inside it to check whether the user has added this cheese add-on or not. Now this is fine, but in case we have more nesting, then this sort of expression can be really very difficult to understand and handle. So a better way to access an optional property in TypeScript is by using an optional chaining operator, which is denoted by a question mark followed by a period. So let's see how we can define this particular expression using an optional chaining operator. For example, here you want to access the cheese add-on property. So for having that, we will simply write my pizza, put an optional chaining operator, and then you can see that in the drop down you are getting the list of all the properties that are there. So you can choose say add-ons, and then again put an optional chaining operator and then select cheese. So this is how you can access this particular property. Now the best part about optional chaining operator is as soon as it sees either any of these properties as null or undefined, in those cases it immediately stops running the whole expression and gives you the output as undefined. So if you try to log this on the console, since we don't have any cheese add-on, and here itself it should give us undefined. So let's try to run this on the terminal and see what the output is. So let's run this particular file and then run the JavaScript file that got created. So you can see that you are getting the result as undefined over here. But in case you have a cheese add-on, so let's define this one over here, define this cheese add-on as true. Then in that case, if you again compile this and run the JavaScript file, you can see that you are getting the result as true. Now also in cases if you have an optional method, we have talked about method in one of the videos where we talked about interfaces. So if you have an optional method, that also you can access with this optional chaining. So let's say we have a method defined in our interface pizza that's called bake, which is optional. Now in order to access that, what you can write is you would write my pizza, put a optional chaining operator, and then write the name of the method that is there. For example, it is bake, and then put a optional chaining operator, and then after that put a braces. This is how you can access an optional method using optional chaining operator in TypeScript. So this optional chaining operator comes in really very handy whenever we are dealing with APIs where we know that some of the data might not not be present. So as to handle those values in a safe manner, this optional chaining operator is really very important. And when we work on actual project, we generally use this optional chaining with nullish coercing operator, which we are going to talk about in our upcoming video. So that's majorly it about the optional chaining operator. In the next video of our TypeScript series, we are going to talk about the nullish coalescing operator. So if you found this video helpful, do hit the subscribe button. See you in the next one.